Okay, this is part 2 of the practice quiz week 8, how to evaluate and solve equations. So my question 5 and 6 look like this, and I've already copied both problems down onto a piece of paper. And so now I'm going to show you with the document camera, and we're going to go through each of the steps to solve these equations. So we talked about looking for distributive property and combining like terms. So I don't have any parentheses in here, and I'm looking at both sides of the equation now for about combining like terms. And there is something I can actually do over here to simplify this, but I'm going to leave that for now. So I'm really at the add, subtract, multiply, divide stage of this. Now, I could add 5 to both sides of these equations, but that might make things even a little bit more confusing. So I'm going to go ahead and start by multiplying both sides of this equation by 2. Now, why am I doing this by 2? Because I have a divide by 2 over here. So if I multiply this entire thing by 2, I'm going to get 16x plus 4 and then divided by 2. But I can remember that 2 divided by 2 is 1. So over here, I just have now 8x plus 2. Now, to multiply these, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. I'm going to go back over here and show you that left side, 8x plus 2. I always think of this as the opposite kind of a distributive property. If I've got these two terms divided by 2, I'm going to divide both things. So 8x divided by 2 is 4x. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So I could have done that first and had 4x plus 1 and then left this x minus 5. I'm actually going to solve both of them and show you that they're both equivalent to each other. So here, now I can start adding and subtracting things to both sides of the equation, the same thing to both sides of the equation. I'm going to start with a minus 2x to get my 0 pair over here. So I'm left with negative 10. 8x minus 2x is 6x. Plus 2 equals negative 10. Now I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides of the equation. So this is my 0 pair. 6x is equal to negative 12. I have one more step. 6x's are equal to negative 12. Divide by 6 to get 1x is equal to negative 2. I'm going to do the same thing over here real quick and see if we get the same answer. And I hope we do. Subtract 1 from both sides. 3x is equal to negative 6. Yep. So x is equal to negative 2. Okay. This one looks a little different, but there's something similar about it. So it looks like a distributive property because there's a set of parentheses here. So we're going to treat it like that. But if I have 1/4 times 4, this is the same as 4x divided by 4 and 8 divided by 4. But since we have a negative sign here, both of these terms are going to end up being negative. So if I think 1/4 of 4 x's is just 1x, and it's got to stay negative. 1/4 of 8 is 2, and it has to be negative. I'm going to go ahead and do a plus negative 2, and then plus 6. So this is like 4 divided by 4, 8 divided by 4. Since one of those was negative, these two are going to be negative. So now I have negative x and a negative 2 plus 6 equals 2x minus 8. So now I think about, can I combine like terms on either side? Yes, I can, because I have a -2 and a +6. Well, that makes +4. Oops. +4 equals 2x minus 8. And now I can start adding and subtracting the same thing from both sides of the equation. I think on this one I'm going to add 1x. Now I've often heard teachers say, oh, you should have the variables on the right or the left side of the equation. But I didn't do that on this one because I wanted to go ahead and just have a positive x value. If I had subtracted 2, then I'd have a -3x over here, which is totally fine, but I didn't feel like dealing with negative numbers today. And I'm going to add an 8 to both sides to make that a 0 pair. I have my 3x. 4 plus 8 is 12. One more step. If 3x's is equal to 12, and I divide by 3, then x equals 4. And remember, if you're not sure about your answer, use substitution, and then you're evaluating expressions, and if they are the same on both sides after you put this 4 into the equation, well, 4 times 2 is 8. 8 minus 8 is 0. So if I get 0 on this side, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 plus 8. See, I'd have to evaluate the whole thing. So I'm going to use a quiz to tell me if I'm right. So -2 and 4. -2 here. I think this is 4. I have another question. Solve the equation below. Only enter the numerical answer. So let me go ahead and copy this. -x minus 8 equals -2. Okay. So we talked about earlier in our Zoom today that if you have a negative on the outside of the parentheses, it changes everything inside to the opposite of. Remember, opposite of positive is negative. So this is now -x. Opposite of negative is positive, or like -1 times -8. We're ending up with a +8. I have really only one step for this. Make a 0 pair over here. So I have -x is equal to -10. Well, the opposite of -x is +x. And the opposite of -10 is +10. Or you could think, well, if I multiply both sides by -1, I'm going to end up with my +x and my +10. So either way, x is equal to +10. And the last question looks a little confusing at first, but it says find the mistake. Which step is incorrect? So I know if I'm trying to solve this equation, I've got to use distributive property first. So 3x minus 12, okay, that's right. -4 minus 2x plus 10, okay, step 1 is correct. Now, what did they do here? Okay, here they used the commutative property and just moved things around so that the -4 and the 10 are together. They did that correctly. Okay, this is the same. Well, -4 plus 10 is 6, so that's correct. Now, it looks like step 4, they subtracted a 2x from both sides of the equation. Well, they should have either added 2x or subtracted 3x. So my mistake, my first mistake right here is in step 4. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to click on step 4. I'm going to submit my quiz. And let's see how we did. Oh no. No, it doesn't belong to me. Let's try again. Practice quiz. There's my first video. So for this, we got, go back and look, this was 58. Question 2, we got negative 64. Question 3. See, it's different. That's all right. I'll do it real quick. This one, we got 4. Over here, we got negative 2. Question 6. What we did was shuffle these around. This we got negative 3. This is all just shuffled around, that's all. This one we didn't do. This one we said it was step 4. Okay. So how many do I have to do? Question 3. We can do that real quick. 18 is equal to 3 times 3x minus 6. To do that one. And 3 times 2x plus 7 equals 39. Could do those real quick. So when you guys try this practice quiz, you're going to get shuffled just like I just did. Okay, so I use distributive property. 3 times 3x is 9x. 3 times negative 6 is negative 18. I cannot combine like terms. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding and subtracting the same things to both sides of the equation. 18 and 18 is 36. This is my 0 pair. One more step. Divide both sides by 9. X is equal to 4. Same thing here. I need to start with distributive property. 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times 7 is 21. It's 39. I'm going to subtract 21 from both sides to make that 0 pair. 6x is equal to 18. Divide both sides by 6. X is 3. So we have x is 4 and x is 3. So this one was x is 4. Down here we got x is 3. So again, when you take this, you're going to get shuffled questions. You might get a few different questions than what I showed on both videos, but you can see how to score each of them. So we got that one correct, 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 correct. So you will see the same thing when you do your practice quiz. You'll be able to tell what you did correct. If you don't get it correct, you can take the quiz as many times